Welcome back to SQL with Ravimartha. Today we'll see how to calculate running total and average, which is also called as cumulative sum and average. So let's see the first question. Calculate the running total and average of salary from tbill employee table. So here we have a table called tbill employee with employee ID, employee name, salary date and salary. And we want the output like this, with two columns added, that is running total and running average. As you know, running total means it should sum up all these values and populate here. For the first row, it should be 8000. For the second row, it should sum up these two values and populate here. For the third row, it should sum up all these three values and populate here. So this is how it happens. So for the last row, it should sum up all these salary values and populate the value here. Similarly, for the running average, it should take the average of all these values and populate it here. So this is how it works. Let's see how to achieve this one. Moving on to the question number 2, calculate the running total and average of the salary from tbill employee table by employee. So here I have the same table. Now we want to do the running total by employee. If you see here, we have employee ID 1 with 5 records and employee ID 2 with 3 records, employee ID 3 with 1 record. So here the running total was done till employee ID 1. For the employee ID 2, again it was done for the 3 rows. Then it was reset for the employee ID 3. Similarly, the same case for the running average by employee ID. So the average has been taken till the employee ID 1. For the employee ID 2, the average was reset and then it was calculated for the employee ID 2. So this is how by employee. Let's see how to achieve this as well. Moving on to the question number 3, show the value of sum of salary or average of salary of the tbill employee table as separate columns. So here the same table is there. So we want to see total employee salary as well as average employee salary. The total employee salary nothing but the sum of all the salaries and populate the value here. Similarly, the average of all these salaries should be populated here. Let's see how to achieve this as well. Let's go back to the SSMS and check it out. So I am in the SSMS now. Let's create the table and add some test data. So the data got loaded. Let's see the table. So this is the same data which I have shown in the slide. So this is the general syntax for calculating the running total. Select star sum of column, that is on the column on which we want to do the aggregation, over partition by the column on which we want to partition the data. Then the order by clause on which we want to order the data. So I'm analyzing it as running total from the table. So this is how the general syntax works. Let's substitute the data here. So for this same table, I have substituted the values. So to calculate the running total and average of the employee table. So here we want to calculate the running total on salary column. So I have used the same thing here. Select sum of salary over order by employee ID and salary date as running total. Similar case for the average as well. Here I'm not doing any partition here. So I'm treating entire table as single partition since we have to do the running total and average for the tbill employee table. So let's see what is the output for this. So for this, we got the running total here. So for the employee ID 1, first record it is 8000. For second record, we got the sum of these two and populated here. For the sum of 3, this is the total. For next 4 records, this is the total. Next 5 records, this is the total, and so on and so forth. The sum of all these records is 73450. Right? Similarly, for average, instead of sum, we are just taking the average of these two and populating here, and taking the average of these 3 and populating here, and also the average of these all salaries and populating here. Right. Let's see the next question now. We'll see how to calculate running total and average of salary from the employee table by employee. Let's run it. If you see, So we have the running total and average total was populated by employee. So for the employee ID 1 we have 8000, and for the next record this is 16,050. That means the sum of these two was populated here. So it is populated till here, till the fifth record for these 5 records, right? For then as soon as you find the employee ID 2, it has reset the partition since we are doing the partition on employee ID, right? And also we are ordering the data by employee ID and salary. So this employee ID and the salary date is a unique combination, and it calculates the running total on this salary column. This sorting will play a crucial role in calculating the running total. We'll see what happens if this combination is not unique. So this is how we can achieve the result for the average running total and average salary for the employee table by employee. Let's go back to the next question, that is the sum of salary should be populated as a separate column and average of the employee salary should be calculated as one more column. So for this I have not used any partition. So the entire table is used as single partition and there is no order by class as well. So it has summed up all these salaries and populated as a separate column here. Similar case for the average. So this is how the third question also can be answered, right? Let's see what happens if there is no unique combination for the sorting. So here I'm using the partition by on employee ID and ordering by the employee ID and doing this summation on the salary column. So let's see what happens. So in this case I'm doing the sorting on the employee ID. So there are 5 rows for employee ID and there is no unique combination. So it has summed up all these values and it has populated for each row. So the same sum value has been populated here. Similar case for this employee ID 2. So here we have 3 rows. The sum of 3 is 25,000 and which is populated for all these 3 rows, right? So this is how the order by plays a crucial role. So we need one unique combination to calculate the running total or the running average, right? And if you are not mentioning any partition, that is, let me remove this. If you are not mentioning any partition, it will treat entire table as single partition. We can also, instead of not mentioning anything, we can also mark it as partition by 1. It gives the same result. You can give any integer. Even if I give 20, it will give the same result. So it's just a constant here, right? And there is one more way, that is the alternate way. Before 2012, SQL Server 2012, we used to derive this sum, the cumulative sum and average by this method. So here what I'm doing a self join of the employee table with itself. I'm doing the join on employee ID and the salary date. So the salary e1.salary date greater than or equal to e2.salary date, and I'm grouping the data on employee ID, employee name, employee salary date and salary. Let's see how this particular query works and populates the data. So the result we have achieved is the same as above, right? So it is populating the running total by employee, and for the employee 2 it has reset and populated the running total. For the employee 3 it has again reset the value, right? Let's quickly understand how it works. Here I have a table called table employee and I have made a replica of the same table. Now let's see how it executes. We have made the join on the employee ID. So this employee ID 1 joins on the employee ID 1 column, and if we take the first salary date, we'll see how many records are greater than this particular date. So for the March 2020, we have one record which is equal. So this particular record will be picked up and the sum and average will be calculated. For the second record, which is April 2020, we have one record which is less than and the other record is equal. So these two records will be picked up and the sum will be calculated. Similarly, for the third record, these three records will be picked up since the May 2020 is greater than March, April and equal to May. So these three records will be picked up and the sum and average will be calculated. So on, it will pick up all these. For the fifth record, it will pick up all these rows and calculate the sum and average. Right? Similarly for the employee 2, for the first condition, it will go ahead and check how many records which are greater than the May 2020. So here for this record, the May 2020, there is one record, so it will pick up that and calculate the sum and average since we are doing the group by. Similarly for the second record, it will pick up two records. For the third record, it will pick up these three records and calculate the sum and average. So this is how we can achieve the running total and cumulative sum in the alternate way. So let's recap what we have learned in this session. The sum average Windows functions can be used to calculate the running total or the running average, and this will be applied to each partition and it will reinitialize when there is a new partition. Unlike the aggregation, by using the window function, it will not group into a single row, but each row will retain its own identity. It is important to have a unique column for sorting in the order by clause to avoid duplicate cumulative sum or average. Mention the column name under partition by on which we want to partition the data. So in case if you are not mentioning any column under partition by, it will treat the entire table as single partition. So the over clause which determines the partitioning and the ordering of a row set before associating the window function. That's all for today. If you like this video, please do subscribe to my channel, and I'll place the text version of this video available on my blog, which is sqlwithravimartha.blogspot.com. Thank you. Have a great day.